apart from developing the RESTful APIs, another most important task, a most important thing is the documentation of those APIs. For UI team to be easily access the RESTful APIs as soon as they develop it, that is actually ready for consumption, and to have more details, more verbose about those APIs, there should be a documentation, and that's where Swagger fits in. So Spring, if we talk about Spring, it actually has its own documentation pattern, which is Spring REST docs, but we are here focusing on an open API specification Swagger. Swagger provides in-depth, high-level information about a RESTful API. It is highly configurable. Okay, so in the next section of this video, we'll see how to actually implement a configure Swagger documentation for a Spring Boot application. So I have generated Spring application from start.spring.io, which is with having a basic dependencies, that Spring Web dependencies and Spring Data JPA and H2, just to get a feel of a RESTful API. So now we will see how actually we can enable our applications to have this Swagger documentation. Okay, for that actually what we need is, since Swagger is not Spring created dependencies, it's an dependency which is created by Swagger or Spring Fox team. So we have to actually grab that dependencies and we have to add it in pom.xml. So I'll go to my pom.xml once, and in that pom.xml I have actually added it, but I have just commented it out. So there are two dependencies which we need to have. One is simple Spring Fox Swagger 2, and the other one is Spring Fox Swagger -UI. So -UI is the dependency which actually enables the applications to present those information or those documents in a way of HTML. Okay, and the main core work which is being done here to actually grab those REST controller details and all those stuff, all those configurations will be handled by Spring Fox Swagger 2. So let's just first enable the first dependencies. So I'll just uncomment it, I'll do save it. Okay, so right now we have not configured anything actually in this application related to Swagger. We have just added a dependency, so nothing will work out, right? So what we'll do, we'll add some basic configurations in this application. So for that I'll just go and create a config package. Inside that I'll go and create a class and I'll name it as Swagger config. Okay, so I've just added in here. So I'll do add configuration, then I'll also enable the Swagger. Okay, to proceed further, right now we have just enabled add configurations and add enable Swagger 2, which will enable the Swagger configuration basically. So before proceeding, we have to understand one term which is known as docket. So what is docket actually? So docket, in a shorter form, it's a kind of a brief document or an abstract of a document. That's what Swagger calls it. So basically what we need to have as exposed as UI for the details of the RESTful API, we need to actually tell Swagger that these are the details you need to show. So now we'll go ahead and create a docket. So for that purpose, we actually need to create a function, okay, which will actually take a docket, and then we can make it as any name, let's say API, just an API. Okay, this is the function name I'm giving. So what I'll do, I'll have to mark it as @bean. Okay, so we'll return a docket, we'll create a docket and we'll return it. So we'll get a docket, then documentation type dot swagger 2 dot select, okay, and then dot APIs. So inside APIs we need to actually tell where all you have to actually look for the controllers or for the route files basically. Okay, so right now I'll do just look it anywhere inside the application. So I'll do request handler selectors, okay, dot any. So what this will do, this will actually go ahead, look into the whole of the application, whatever route file it will find, it will just list it out in the Swagger UI. Then I'll just do build. Okay, and that's done. Now let's restart the application, and the application has started. Let me just go back to the Google Chrome. I'll open it. Okay, so I'll do localhost and then :8080, then /. Okay, if I do just 8080, it will just show me a error white label page because nothing is mapped, right? So since we have not added a Swagger UI right now, we just added Swagger core dependencies. So for that purpose, we need to just go to v2 okay, and then slash API hyphen docs. So if you go to this location, we will see this Swagger JSON basically, okay, which has been created by the Swagger framework, and this is actually taking into taking into controller which we have not defined, which is actually present by default from a Spring perspective. So this one is actually the basic error controller, is the Spring defined controller, and these two are the controller which we have defined. So this is how actually it is it is showing the JSON based details about the APIs and about the application. But what we actually need is, we actually need a presentable manner of UI. So we'll go back to the application. So here we can see, right, this Spring UI is not enabled, so I'll just enable it. I'll save it, let it run, let it get installed. Meanwhile, I'll stop the application. I think it's installed. Oh, let's restart the application. Now let's see if the UI is enabled or not. So localhost :8080 / swagger-ui.html. so this is the API path which we need to go to actually look for an UI. So if I hit enter, so it will give us a basic UI page which will have a name of the application, which is by default right now, the description, then the license, and the controller which is actually present in the application. So I have actually had this user controller and this demo controller present, but this basic error controller is coming from Spring's default controllers, okay, so that white label page error controller. So this is how actually a basic Swagger page looks like without any much configurations. Okay, so let's go back to the application and do configure it more, or like let's fine tune, let's remove this basic error controller from here. We don't want to see the Spring's default controller, we want to see our application specific APIs. Okay, so I'll go back to the application and I'll go back to the Swagger configuration page, and instead of this request handler selectors.ini, what I'll do is I'll just do a base package, and in here I'll give the package name. So it will be com.tech.swaggerdemo.controller. okay, so this is the package actually we want applications to look into, okay, so that it will not go and grab those Spring default APIs. So I'll just restart the application and see. Okay, so if I refresh this page, you can see, right, this error controller has been removed. So since we have mentioned that you need to look for a controller inside that package only, so Swagger is just doing that. It is just scanning the whole package. It is not going inside the Spring and looking for a controller. Okay, so let's again fine tune it more. Let's put the name, the description, and some of the more details about this application in this documentation page. So I'll go back to the application. Let me create one more function which will be API info, which will return an API info, and I'll just give, let's say, metadata as a function name. Okay, what I'll do, I'll create one API info object. Okay, let's say API info equals to new API info. Okay, and inside this actually we need to look into this class, that what all it accepts. So as you can see, this is deprecated and it accepts string, 4 strings, then a contact object, and then 2 strings, and then varargs. So I'll do, for a simplicity, I'll just add an empty 4 string. Yeah, now it's more presentable. So I'll return this API info. Okay, and this function is pretty much done, but we need to give the information. So let's say I'll give the title as stack for and the license URL as well as null. So this is pretty much done. So what I'll do, I'll just restart the application and let's see what happens. So all these details should actually show up in the dashboard or the UI basically. So let it run and then we'll be seeing that. Okay, so it has started. Let me go back to the browser and I'll just do a refresh. and it has not reflected. Okay, the reason is we have created this metadata, but actually we have not configured it in the docket. So whatever we will configure it inside a docket, that only will get reflected in the UI. So for that purpose, actually there is a thing called as dot API, dot API info, and we'll put what is that function metadata, and we'll do okay. So now if I restart the application, it should actually show these details. Let's go back to the browser and just to refresh the page, and here it is. So these are the details which actually is coming as a metadata, like for a much more information about your application. So similarly, likewise, this information we have added, likewise we can actually add more information related to a particular API, like what are the request structure and what is the expected model class as a response, then what are the error codes which are actually acceptable or can be thrown by this API. All those things can be configured inside the docket. To make it short, I'm just not showing those details, but still available in the Swagger documentation page. So if I go to Swagger documentation page, let's say the Swagger reference page, okay, so it is, so this actually has all those details. So this is how a docket looks like when you add much more information than what we just configured. So there is another good site which is swagger.io. So I'll just go here, swagger.io. So it tells all the things which actually Swagger provides. So if you go down, it says open space API specification, then open source tools, then Swagger Hub. So if you open this open source tool, other stuff, then there is an editor. So this editor actually, if you go to live demo, you can actually see through that how Swagger page looks like. So by the way, this is the latest version of Swagger UI. So this is how it looks like, the controller and the details about those, then the models related to each of the controller. Then on the left hand side, actually the raw JSON which actually converts and which actually is showed on the right hand side as a UI. So whatever you'll change on the left hand side of the JSON, that will get reflected on the right hand side. So you can play around with Swagger JSON file. So that's it from today's session. Till then, bye bye. Do like and subscribe the channel, and if you're liking this content, just drop a comment so I'll be knowing what is happening around on the YouTube.